渡辺。
ちょっと何。
あっち向いた。
So I think when it comes to more than a married couple, I'm pretty much like falling in love with this anime. Like I think it's excellent and it's really good. And I'm gonna talk about episode number 4 in just a moment. But I think it was last week or maybe the week before, someone in the comments was like, "Hey, I watch your videos. Thank you." And a lot of times you're very angry at the main character, the MC, who's a big old virgin boy. What's different here? Because it seems like your opinion have changed. And I think this episode is a perfect example of why I like Jirou more than I like a lot of the other virgin boy kind of characters that we get written a lot. And I mean a lot in anime. It's overused. And the typical one that I tend to gravitate towards hate are the ones who act like, like they're 5 and girls kind of have cooties kind of thing. And a lot of the times, these main characters that we tend to get over and over, right? A girl touches them and like they beeline it out of the way, or they can't really understand when a girl likes them, or when they're sending them signals of hug me, touch me, kiss me. They're basically completely oblivious to all of that, or they're willfully oblivious. Which what I mean by that is a lot of times a girl will say, touch my boob, and he'll be like, that's not what she meant. She must have meant something else. And those are the characters that I freaking hate. Like I just cannot stand, because literally a girl is like, hey, do this to me, and he's like, she doesn't quite mean that. She must mean something else. And those are the ones that I tend to kind of hate over and over. And, when they're used, like, they just make an anime, like, they make a potentially good show really bad. So, I wanted to preface that because the reason I'm really falling in love with, our characters here with Jirou and Akari, and, we also have Shiori in there as well, too. But obviously, our main 2 protagonists, our main 2 people here is Akari and Jirou. The reason that I'm more inclined towards him is something, and it's not to the level of, I don't know if we'll ever see an anime get to that quite level, but if you guys remember an anime, I think it's the GOAT of romance anime, in my opinion, and that's Horimiya. And that's because it was based in realism, right? Like how you really get a girlfriend, how you really get a boyfriend, how your relationship ends up being, you get jealous, things like that, right? There is a semblance, or there's a little portion of this anime that's based in realism. And although there is this never gonna happen in reality situation with people being forced to pair up and in marriage situation and given dorm rooms, and there's a whole nother section of this anime that's just complete fantasy, right? But the relationship part of it and feelings, I think, are based in realism. So I'll kind of walk you through it. So in episode number 4, right, we have some misguidedness here with you had Akari and Miname, right, be in their situation. And Akari has personally been struggling with her feelings of, am I really in love with Miname, or am I in love with Jirou, or, what the hell's going on with me? And in this episode specifically, she straight up asked him, when all things are said and done, when you get to rank A, are you going to swap, Shiori for somebody else? And he was like, no, if she'll have me, we'll just keep going. And in a sense, that broke Akari, right? Like, she got all up in her feelings about it, because obviously she wanted to hear him say, like, well, if you get there, then, and that's not what happened. And there was also a moment where, Miname got really close to her physically, and, her heart was pumping and she got flustered, right? And she was, she said to herself, and even in the confusion, she was like, oh, good thing that I still feel this way about Miname. And she's like, wait, good thing. And she was like, when did I stop, right? And I think she's kind of coming to that realization. She's like, yo, when did I stop feeling that way? And it's because, as Miname was moving out, Jirou was kind of moving in subconsciously, not like with her really knowing. So I found that really interesting. I think that situation there is based on realism. Something that could happen, to somebody with, essentially getting their heart broken or getting their feelings hurt in a specific situation, like what happened to her, right? Asking a very innocent question, getting a very innocent answer, but the meaning behind that answer weighs more on you than something that meant more than the person answering the question. Conversely, then, you had Jirou ask Shiori, hey, would you do XYZ, when you get there? And basically, Shiori didn't get to finish, but she hinted that, yeah, you get to A, we'll make this thing happen. And Jirou needs to relish and revel in his big win. But he wasn't able to because of his friend telling him what happened with Akari, right? And then you have him go home to Akari. And again, we have to remember he's this big old virgin boy, but he's handling it in the most way a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid that, has never had a relationship is a big old virgin boy, for her. Same thing with Akari, a girl who, projects being one thing, but in reality, she's very, to herself, never kissed, very, also big old virgin girl, right? So you have these two who are very, very similar. And, he goes home and, she's feeling some type of way. He lets her know of kind of how he felt about it in a very passive-aggressive way, which is how a person of that age would handle that situation passive-aggressively. Hey, good for you, buddy. That I feel like that is something that I've done, when I was young, being really passive-aggressive about something like, hey, saw you walking with that guy, good for you, and the girl has to then come and be like, what the F are you talking about, kind of thing, You take one thing completely out of context. That is realism, and I love the writing for that. But he goes, and then he tells her, like, blah, 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 this is what happened, and she begins laughing, and she was like, it didn't happen, dude, basically, like, you're completely misguided. He got some dust out my eye. She didn't tell him about, like, my doki doki, my heart was going crazy or anything, but she began to cry. Because she was like, I was kind of heartbroken because he did say that, Miname told me that he wouldn't swap Shiori kind of thing. And she begins to break down. And, in that moment, Jirou could have walked away. He could have just let her cry. He could have looked away, but instead he decided to hug her, which is when I'm watching those other types of characters that I described at the beginning of this review. Most of those characters would allow her to cry, or I'd be screaming, hug her, and this effing dude wouldn't do it. But Jirou has the self-awareness and the maturity, even though he's immature, but the maturity to go in and hug her. And not only did that's a huge win for him, it's a huge win for Akari, it's a huge win for their relationship, it's a huge win for us as the viewer, because that is going to push their relationship forward, because now they're basically bonding, right? So much so that now she divulged information because she was like, okay, he got jealous. He's feeling some type of way about me. And again, these are all non-verbal things. He's feeling some type of way about me. I'm now going to be verbal and communicate what actually is the case. You were my first, this is Akari, right? She was like, you were my first kiss. You were my first experience. I don't just give that away to anybody, right? Now that's going to take Jirou's worriness and ideas down from a 10 to like a 2, basically insignificant. And that'll build him up. No, now he has to deal with the fact that he was her first kiss, right? That was his first kiss. So like they shared something. So again, this is all moving it forward in realism. And that's why I think I'm falling in love with this anime, is because it's silly and the premise is in complete bullshit and fantasy, but the way that they're handling these two individuals growing and getting closer to each other is real. And it's real, and it's real and really written in an experience from somebody of that age, or somebody who remembers really well being at that really awkward age. So I'm loving it. I think this anime is absolutely amazing. I laugh a lot. I'm invested in it, and I'm having a good time. So, if I'm gushing a lot, it's because this has impressed me, and when something impresses me, I want to verbalize it to you guys. So I would say easy 9 out of 10 episode, really solid. Loved it quite a bit. Let me know what you guys think about what I started the video with. Let me know what you think about how I'm ending it. Let me know what you think about this anime, and is it similar? Can you kind of have you had similar experiences in your relationship if you want to divulge that in the past. You don't have to be in a detail, but yeah, be like, yeah, I remember, being weird like that too. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and of course, see you guys next week. Peace.